because now that we saw this one, my hype is up here, and this might not be another orc, so I might be heavily disappointed, but I don't know yet. We'll see if I'm pleasantly surprised or completely shattered. What's going on, guys? BMP back with another bad movie review, this time on Lord of the Elves. I have a lot to say about this movie, so I'm going to shoot it over to you guys first, but first I just want to give the premise for everyone to know exactly what this movie's about. So this movie follows Gobin. Gobin is the main character, and he is a member of the Tree People, and they're supposed to be like hobbits. That's what the description of the movie describes them as, that they're hobbits, but they're never really mentioned
at all.
Right, they're never mentioned as hobbits in the movie. So they're the Tree People, and it's Gobin, his father Tatek, and his mother Suta. And what happens is they get invaded and pillaged by the Rockmen, which are a tribe of like cannibals.
Java men.
Yeah, and they're also called Java men, and they're cannibals, and they kill, they kidnap, and they worship the moon. So, you know, you find out later on that they kidnap the Tree People to sacrifice them to like the moon god. And Gobin and his family enlist the help of the Giants, which is another tribe. But the Giants are just humans. And they say that they're humans, but they're giants compared to the Tree People. And they try to enlist their help. And they get help from Amthar, played by Christopher Judge. And that is as much as I'm going to tell you about the movie. And I'm going to shoot it to you guys first.
I'll just go with my first point that I have, and then you can take it away. Because
I don't have much to say. I don't have much to say about the beginning of the movie.
When they started capturing the Tree People, they take her mother, and her mother has medicine stones, which are huge stones in her pockets. And what did she drop? As they're flying away, leaving a trail, she dropped about 8 or 9 stones. My biggest concern is, where was she keeping these stones?
Yeah.
She had no pockets.
Yeah. Because first of all, when she first got taken, she had no stones at all. And then she dropped the first one. And you can forgive that. But then she drops the second one. And then the family finds another one on the ground. They're like,
that is 7.
7? Where the fuck did you keep 7? So we have, as I explained before, we have the Tree People, we have the Giants, and we have the Rockmen. And these are the 3 tribes that we come to know the whole movie. But the movie is called Lord of the Elves. There is not a single elf or mention of elves in the entire movie. And I will do a spoiler that this goes until the very end of the movie. You never, ever see, hear, speak of, or learn about elves. So I'm not sure where they got the title for this movie. It's very misleading. They called them Tree People the entire movie. They literally could have called it Lord of the Trees, and you would have been fine. They end up in the Giants' territory, like all their land. And right away they come across a small group of hunters led by Amthar. And besides the CGI, because I know, Matt, you have a point about that. I will let you get to that in a little bit. But long story short, they end up, saving Amthar's life, so he feels indebted to them. And when they explain that they're going to confront the Rock men to rescue their kidnapped families, he says, okay, like, because they want his help, he says, I'm indebted to you, like, I want to help you, but our chief has to make that final decision for me. I can't make it myself. So let's go X the chief. And Chris, I know you had a very important point about the chief when we meet him.
So we meet the chief, and he looks like he's just guy, normal voice. And the second he starts talking, he is the most blatant ripoff, or attempted ripoff, of Emperor Palpatine from the Star Wars franchise. I mean, this guy, down to the movements, the stretching out of words, the deep voice like this.
What are these little things you bring before us?
He ends up denying, the chief ends up denying the request for Amthar to go help them. So, and then by the end of the conversation, he kidnaps them. Like, he takes them hostage. Like,
Yeah, no reason behind it.
yeah,
We
I
don't
mean, it was
actually
kind of,
see this stuff.
it was really weird. Like, it started out as a conversation, and he ended up first saying no, and then Tatek was like,
What? About a trade. My daughter is a medicine woman. She can teach you how to plant seeds.
and he's like,
I have no interest in your seed.
he made another offer, and the chief shot that down too. And then his son Gobin has something he calls a helping stick, and it allows him like better range, better reach because they're
No.
small.
Not better range. Completely astronomical range.
So
Like,
he's able to, using the stick, he's able to completely launch a spear like ridiculous distances. So he says, okay, how about a trade, for that? We can, teach you how to do that or whatever. So they want a demonstration. So Amthar throws his, Lylan throws hers, and she's a woman of the giants. And then Gobin gets another person. I think he gets Pesh, one of the kids named Pesh, to use the stick, and he completely catapults this thing like you wouldn't believe. And
Physics.
somehow the chief is just like, no, we don't need such tools. And Amthar's like, the f*** do you mean? Like, you'd be stupid not to take this. So Amthar ends up rescuing them because he feels it's not right. Like, he knows that, like, they're good people, he's still indebted to them, and he wants to do the right thing. So he frees them, and his little group tags along. So it's Lylan, it's Pesh, and this other, I don't know the other guy's name that was with them. I want to say Roke or Rock, something like that.
by the end of the movie, I called him Windows Movie Maker.
So that whole group is the traveling group. At one point, Lylan gets a Rockman and takes him captive, and she's just holding him there, like he's just standing next to her now, and he's with the group. And Amthar goes to like grab him to like question him, and he breaks free of Amthar and he goes to run, and he just trips over Gobin's body. And then it cuts to him on the ground, and his head is busted open on a rock, like he killed himself. He tripped over Gobin and smashed his head open on a rock. And Gobin, they cut to Gobin, he has zero reaction to this. Zero. Like, it was a jolt for me that this guy just died from tripping.
We had to go back to make sure we saw.
Yeah, I thought I missed something. And he really just trips over his body. Like, Gobin's just sitting there. I guess he's sitting too far out. He trips over his body, smashes his skull open, and dies.
But don't forget the next part, 2 seconds.
Yes, I was just about to get to that. Almost instantly, Pesh turns around, triggers a trap, and it's a spike wall that comes up and kills him.
Do not fear, Halfman. I will protect you.
And that we don't really see. We'll see the guy's brain splattered on the rock, but we won't see him get impaled.
Now, for our movies that we review, you cannot criticize the CGI.
Yes, that's one of our like unspoken rules. We can't use CGI as one of our gripes about the movie.
So now with the CGI with this movie, it bothered me terribly because those fight scenes with those CGI monsters or anything CGI related was so terribly off that it wasn't funny. That there's the monster right in front of him and he's standing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we can't complain about the CGI. That's our own unspoken rule. But it wasn't so much the bad CGI that is bothering us about this. It's their interaction with the bad CGI. You know, if these dragons were just in the sky or these lizards were just in a field, it would be what it is. But it's their interaction with them. Like when we first meet Amthar, they're fighting a big woolly rhino, and Amthar's on the ground, and the rhino stomps, and Amthar, you assume that this is what's going on in the scene. He's trying to roll away, but he ends up rolling into the stomp instead of away from it. Like he was supposed to somehow be on the other side of the CGI rhino. So, and there are other parts we see where they're just like, you can clearly tell they're just doing this with steers. Like have a little bit of like coordination and timing with your CGI. I know it's not really there, but please, just a little bit of effort on that, please.
So while we're on the topic of CGI, should we talk about Chris's CGI?
No, not yet. No, we have to save the best for last. We're not there yet.
I don't know if that was the best or what happened after that with Emperor Palpatine.
No.
But that's still the end. We have to save all that. That's all the coding on top. Okay? A little bit later on, we really get a look into the Rockmen tribe's lair in their cave. And they follow the Rock Queen. That's their leader. Just like we had the chief for the Giants. And they're bringing one of the tree people over to her to be sacrificed. And when we cut to her, she's kind of just nodding away. Like she's jamming out to a song that popped up in her head. As if she just thought of like the best pop song from the 90s. When they finally get to the lair, Gobin stays outside and Tatek goes in. And you see that they're very like skilled and trained in being invisible. You know, they're small, so they're able to like sneak around in tall grass. And when he goes into the cave, he communicates with Gobin outside using like animal noises. So you see that these people are very skilled in stealth and, you know, remaining completely invisible to the environment. But when he gets there, they have his wife close to being sacrificed. Like she's near the group. And he gets her attention kind of skillfully. I think he like whispers her name. And she just turns around and she's like,
Tech!
And everyone stops. Every Rockman stops. They grab Tatek, and it was like, how did you fuck that up? You people are literally based on like stealth. How did you fuck that up? And that's what bothered me. This movie, now I get it. It was all dubbed, and I have no problem with any of that at all. My problem was that this movie had the audacity to have a full-fledged army versus army battle. Because the chief ends up showing up with the rest of the giant tribe. And they fight the Rockmen in a big war. And this movie had the gall to do that.
You would never know it because we only see the dragons at the start, but they still do have dragons. They fly them up. And they catch, what was his name?
Rock?
Rock. We're just going to call him Rock. So they catch Rock, the Rock. They catch him, and they fly up in the air. And it looks like the dragon's just going to eat him. Nope. Straight up GTA 5's this guy. And they throw him, and he just lands and scrapes his whole face on the mountain.
I mean, they really spent a lot of time on that because we see him hit the rock. The mountain, and he slides down a little bit, and then it cuts to other people, and then it cuts back to him. Like they wanted us, they wanted us to know, like, you know, just making sure he's still falling. Listen, this was like a 1-2 punch of an unintentional comedy. It was gold.
So Christopher Judge's character is fighting I guess like the head Rockman, because we see a lot of him, and he's on a dragon, and he's fighting him, and the dragon knocks Christopher Judge away, and the chief comes, Emperor Palpatine, and he kills the dragon, and the guy on the dragon gets knocked off, gets up, and just clubs him in the head, and he goes down. And then Christopher Judge gets back up and stabs him, and just sits there and doesn't even turn around to see that his chief is literally like half conscious, dead behind him. Like just straight tunnel vision. Only like this.
Yeah, I mean, the little girl who's following in, you know, in the mother's footsteps to be the medicine woman walks over because they formed a bond in the movie, Amthar and her, as it went on. And she's like, oh, you know, are you okay? And blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, you saved me. I saved you, blah, blah, blah. And in that exact scene, dead center between them, in the center of the shot, is this poor bastard just dying. And not once did they just turn around. Like, just turn around.
I mean, like you don't hear him. Your peripheral vision doesn't see him.
I mean,
you're
it's
just,
not like,
you're just.
and you do see him like breathing. You see his chest moving up and down, but that wasn't just the actor like not being a good corpse. They walk
That's what
over
I
to
thought.
him. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But eventually, do walk over to him, and he's still alive, and he like gets out a few more words to Amthar, and then dies. So he was alive. Like you didn't hear shit. You didn't even hear like a gurgle or a little whimper for help. And then Amthar ends up becoming the new chief. He gets the gingerbread stick, and the family separates. So Tek and Suta go back with the rest of the tree people, and Gobin and his sister stay with the giants. Not entirely sure why. I guess just to show their ways, to teach them. And
They joined alliances.
and that's where the movie ends. The giants then walk off, screen fades to black, and we get credits. Thankfully.
Oh boy, yeah.
Let's move on to ratings. I'm done with this.
We'll start with you this time.
Who?
Me?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, me? Oh, this movie
Yeah.
gets a big fat fucking F from me. That's what it gets. I'm sorry. And it had nothing to do with the dub. It had nothing to do with the acting quality. It all had to do with the story and scene making. And that's what pissed me off the most. This movie gets a big fat fucking F. Chris?
Listen, I was bordering between both, but the 1-2 punch that I got hit with knocks it up to a B for me. I have to give it a B.
I'm right there with Chris.
So that's our review on Lord of the Elves. If you guys check out this movie yourselves, I don't know why you would. But if you do, comment below what you thought of it. Like the video, share it with your friends. Subscribe to catch more of these every week. Next time, we're checking out Transmorphers. I can't imagine what that's a spin-off of, a rip-off of. But until then, guys, I'm Anthony.
Matt?
Chris?
And we'll see you next time. Later.